Welcome to Friday Night Likes. My name is Chris Webb, and in this show I review toy photography from around the web so you can learn how to improve your skills in composition, lighting, posing, scene building, and more. So here we go, another episode. Last week we had this insane heat wave here in Sydney, 40 degrees. Absolute nightmare. It's just killed all my photography dead. I cannot do photography in 40 degrees. It's insane. This week I've got a cold, so I'm recording this late. It is Friday evening this time, on Sydney time here where I'm recording. So I've got to get this done, recorded, edited and uploaded tonight before I go to bed. Get this out for you guys. So let's get into it. First up is another shot, second time on the show, from Force Dad Photography. I've been trying very, very hard not to feature people, twice in a row or too close together. I like to showcase new artists, but my God, this is such a great shot. I just had to include it this week. The reason I've included it is it's a great example of using characters and stuff you've probably got laying around if, you've got a few toys and things as a background. So you got a few Star Wars figures here. You got a pilot, fleet trooper, another fleet trooper, droid in the background. What's that? R5D4 maybe. Syndulla, chopper. In the subject here. This thing up the back. I've got this in my eBay watch list because I'm literally trying to create the same Yavin 4 base set so I can do a few shots with the same kind of setup, which is ironic. So this thing's like a troop carrier that was in New Hope when they were on Yavin. I'm sure it made its way into Rogue One. I can't remember seeing it. And then up the background, he's got the new U-Wing as a backdrop from Rogue One. And obviously the scene's Rogue One because you've got Mon Mothma here. Forget the name of this guy. This guy, I think, was deleted scene from Return of the Jedi. I don't know. And he's got some helmets and things. Just lovely, lovely shot. He's color graded it, got that kind of 70s sepia tone. Really, really nice shot. What I'm trying to point out is you can create backdrops without going and building a diorama. Got a vehicle, few things in place. So if you think about the environment you're putting characters into, it's easy to do this kind of stuff. It's not hard at all. He shot at a fairly narrow aperture, which means the backdrop, the foreground go out of focus, and then you focus on the main subject characters in the center and all this noise that's created behind and in front of these. It helps to tell a story and sets the scene and puts you in it. So that's why Force Dad Photography is at number one this week. Number two, lovely shot by Father Figures. This is just a really beautiful, light study to me. Very simple setup here, which is what I want to talk to you about. And what you want to do when you see stuff like this is read the reflection. So where's light hitting this character? So if you look at her head, you can see this kind of hot light on the side to the back of her head, and then coming down her cheek. Then it's dark, and then the front of her head, or front of her face, has got light hair, and you can see that reflecting on her shiny hair. You follow that down the body, you can see where her neck, clavicle is picking up that light, where her shoulder is picking up that kind of rim side light there, same down the side. You've got a light here, and you've got a light in front. So this helps you to read how a scene is lit, especially when you've got shiny figures like this. It gives away the lighting. So there's clearly a light in front and clearly a light, I would say, pretty much 90 degrees right at the side of her to give that kind of rim lighting. And you can see just by doing this carefully, there's a shadow just in between. So the light at the side and the light in the front have a gap, and that creates that black shadow. This is really, really intricate stuff. This is the kind of stuff I like doing. It takes a while. You have to spend your time doing this. You have to look really, really carefully at your figure and how you're lighting it, and you get results like this. I'm going to be able to teach you a lot more about this in my new course, which I'm going to tell you about more next week when it's available. I dedicate a whole chapter to doing this kind of thing. But for the time being, yeah, this is a really, really nice shot to look at. Next one, Kill the Meal. This is great. So this, I think, is a scene from The Matrix. Revolutions, I think, the last one, where you've got the guys in the, I don't know what they were called, the kind of mechanized suits they used to fight the Sentinels. So the dude here is protecting the base, and here's one of the Sentinels coming in to eviscerate him. I mean, it's a great shot, great color, great tone. There's actually only one reason I picked it, and it's this stuff. This stuff in the corner of the frame. This changes the whole dynamic of the shot. It's what I call foreground framing or near ground framing, where if you just imagine these tentacles weren't there, this would be a completely different shot. So all you'd be looking at is this sentinel coming in from top right and the figure there. And you'd be like, okay, that's a nice shot. You know, you can see what's going on. But by putting these here, it creates a huge sense of depth in the shot. To me, I kind of read this as these tentacles, if you like, were an extension of this sentinel's body. So almost like they were long enough that they came out and out of frame and then background and in front. So when you look at it like that, it makes it look really, really big and like it's arcing around and it's a menace. And you've got that other one there coming down. I would bet money on the fact that this is probably a separate Sentinel model. I don't know. I don't know what size this thing is. I don't know how long these tentacles go for. Or that one is probably from the same figure there. So maybe not. Maybe these are from this one. But it doesn't really matter. The point is, when you do this kind of thing and you bring things like this right into frame and in front of the frame so they're close to the lens and close to the viewer, you can create depth. And at the same time, he's using it as a framing device because it kind of frames the Sentinel and then you've got that one up there. If anything, if the Sentinel body was just over a little bit, so it just sort of sat in between, it would sell just a little bit better. But as it is, it's pretty great, and that's why it's in this week. Next one is a shot of Obi Wan by Rebel Jawa. Only one reason I'm including this shot, and it's to do with something I touch on week after week, which is when I scroll through my feed, I look through Instagram, I look through Facebook, and I'm looking for things that stand out. And the overwhelming majority of toy photography shots are just single character shots. It's just a Marvel fig, a Black Series fig, a Hot Toys fig, and it's just a photo of the figure. And irrelevant of whether it's lit well, not lit well, whether the figure's outside, inside, in a set, Space Wars, whatever it is, it's just like, here's a figure. Come on, guys, step your game up. We can do better than this. Put something in your shots that makes the character do something. Tell a story. Tell us the story of what this character is about and why we should look at them as a viewer. And so this is a great example of doing that. It's not hard. You don't need to do anything grossly complicated to just put a little bit of interest in the scene. There's a million shots of Black Series Obi Wan on Instagram, but by just getting 3 Stormtrooper figures that have, clearly been dispatched by him at the lightsaber's blade, it tells a story. It says to you, okay, badass Jedi. He's just dispatched these 3. It's simple. 3 characters. 3 characters put around him, and you've suddenly got a different shot. This is what I mean. That I think a lot of toy photography would benefit from just a little bit of story and a little bit more time for people to think, what can I do with this character? What can I put around them? What can they interact with? I mean, that's the challenge. What can you do with a character? What objects can you introduce into frame to have them interact with that will make your shot suddenly way more interesting than the sea of just vanilla character shots that are clogging up most people's feeds? Rant over. That's why I'm including the shot this week. Okay, last one by Riven Samuel. Wow, this guy does some great work. Great shots and lighting of his figures, does a lot of hot toy stuff, and then does a lot of post-processing work in Photoshop. There's a handful of people who do this well. Beardy Giant being one, this guy, Lego InDesign, who I've featured, a couple of other people. But, doing post-processing work and doing effects-based work in Photoshop is something that takes time to master and do well. And the specific thing I wanted to pick out with this photo is, I guess, the considered use of motivated lighting. In this case, I think it's actually been done somewhat in post, but it doesn't really matter because obviously you've got the Steve Rogers head here on, I say Steve Rogers, I don't mean Steve Rogers, I mean Chris Evans, on his Fantastic Four costume from years ago when he was the Torch in Fantastic Four. I don't know whether this is a Captain America head or whether this was sold separately. I literally don't know. But anyway, focus on him, and he's obviously done the torched flaming arm in Photoshop. Nothing wrong with that. Integrates well, looks good, believable. But the key thing he's done is he's planned his shot to think about the light that would come off of this sort of arm flaming up. So the light spills over, and you can see the right side of him lights up. Now, I think the top half is definitely colored in Photoshop. So the kind of yellow hue you've got around the edge of his body, his arm, left side of his face, I'm pretty sure that's been pushed up on the yellow side in Photoshop. But it doesn't matter. That kind of thing's fine. The important thing is he knew he was going to do this, and he put a big bright light source on this side so that he could light up this side to sell the illusion that this is giving off light. Possibly could have done a little bit more with the upper arm on that side, but it doesn't really matter. Then on the right side, his key light for the face is a little bit softer, and obviously Cap in the background is lit up a little differently as well. But the message here is, if you're working with Photoshop and you're going to do effects and you want to do this kind of thing, you've got to pre-plan your lighting. So it's no good just getting figures, chucking them on the desk where you're going to shoot, lighting them, and then bringing them into Photoshop and mixing it all together. To get good continuity through a composition like this, you've got to sketch it out and think, okay, what are my light sources going to be? And so if I put a character here and a character here, how do I need to light them differently so that when I composite them together in Photoshop, it works and it's not obvious that they're not in the same scene together? It's difficult to do. The only way you can really do it is through practice. But yeah, this just stood out as a good example of someone who'd thought this stuff through before they went about doing the shot. And that just about ties it up for this week. Hopefully next week I have something close to normality in both the weather, temperature, and my own health. And we can get some stuff done, get this show done on time, and get a couple of shoots done. I cannot tell you the amount of shoots I've got backed up to do for you guys. And I've got a big announcement next week, something very, very special coming. So make sure you tune in, and I'll see you same time, same place next week. Head to ToyShooter.com to join our newsletter and get my free guide to toy photography. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube using the link below. When you subscribe, look for this option to be notified whenever we upload new tutorials. Otherwise, videos will probably get lost in your feed here on YouTube. To see my work on Instagram, you can follow our account at instagram.com/WeShootToys, where you'll also find some exclusive behind-the-scenes videos.
You can also get regular news and updates from our Facebook page at facebook.com/ToyShooter. As with YouTube, you can get notified whenever I upload news or photos by clicking on that like button arrow, then selecting all notifications. You can always change this later if I'm posting more cool stuff than you can handle. Here are all those links again. See you next time.